Electric Soup Kitchen.
Richard, it's Saturday, the something of April, 10:41, London.
5:40 in Albany.
United States of America. I'll quickly go through stuff I want to cover today. There's a bit of news, a bit of an update on... do you remember we talked about the lookalikes, the character actors outside the Mann's Chinese Theatre in Hollywood getting into fights? Yeah. Got an update on that. That music we started with was Steve Ball and his version of Baba O'Reilly. www.steveball.com, steveball.com. Go there. He's a Seattle-based guitarist, described on the website as intricate, interlocking acoustic guitar pop. And I think he's good. And we're going to also end with a bit more of that. As always, anything we talk about, if you click on the iTunes window, if you're listening through iTunes, or if you click on the window on our webpage, electricsoupkitchen.com, that is links, and that will take you to the various, like if it's a band, you can click on that and it'll take you to their MySpace page. Although if you're listening on the webpage, you have to be careful, because if you click on the picture and it will take you away and you won't be able to hear the podcast anymore. So it's probably best to open another window. We've got a bit of corporate sponsorship.
We do?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll let you in on that a bit later on. And all the usual stuff. Got Mini Ingy games review. Gonna get him to talk about Clayman as well a bit more. Try and get some suggestions in for Clayman episodes. Nobody took us up on our DVD giveaway, Richard. Not one.
Not one.
Not one person out there wants a free DVD. So I'm going to keep offering it month after month until somebody decides that they want to see. It's actually, maybe it's because I gave it, maybe I didn't sell it very well. It's called Bad Cop, Bon Cop. Canadian film, highest grossing Canadian film of all time last year. If you want it, you can have it. You will need a multi-region DVD player or live in Canada or America, which I think is region 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's it, really. It'd be good if you fancied reviewing it or dropping us an email back telling us if it's any good. I haven't seen it, but it's there and it's free. So if you want it, drop us an email, podcast@electricsoupkitchen.com, and I will post Bad Cop, Bon Cop to anyone who wants it, anywhere in the world. We just had Easter. Is Easter a big deal over there?
Yeah. There's Easter bunnies in all the yards, and yeah, they don't do the chocolates like we know.
Like you go to the supermarket.
They like to get lots of like plastic eggs and put treats inside them and hide them around the house and the yard.
I mean, I'm still unsure exactly what all the days in Easter mean.
How do you mean?
Well, it was when Jesus was crucified, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then he came back, and that was all on certain days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So what was like Good Friday? When was that?
That was on a Friday.
Yeah, but what day was that? Why is it Good Friday? Can't be when he was crucified.
I don't know. You're talking to a lapsed Catholic. I can't remember any of that.
That would be, yeah. Well, I might have to call Barry Ryan.
Yeah.
Our religious expert. And when I first met him, something of a Jesus lookalike. He had a little beard and shoulder-length hair. We'll find out. Good Friday. That must be when he came back to life. Can't be Crucifixion Day. Because that would be fucking terrible Friday. Anyway, we'll find out. So yeah, we just had Easter. What else has been happening? New series of Doctor Who. Have you caught any of that?
I know. When did that start?
That started 3 weeks ago. It's the 3rd episode tonight.
All right. Oh no, I'll start downloading them as soon as we finish the show.
It was so far it's 2 out of 2. 2 good episodes. This week's has got Ardal O'Hanlon. You know him, the Irish actor.
Oh yeah.
It's got him as a cat person. So, there's a question mark above that one. But so first 2 episodes, brilliant.
Truth is stranger than fiction. And this is the proof. This is Ripley's Believe It or Not.
The parish clerks of Hungerford, England, for 800 years have visited each household on the 2nd Tuesday after Easter to collect a penny from each man for church repairs and a kiss from each woman. Believe it or not. In a moment, I'll tell you about the Iron Man. Sir Thomas Overbury certainly deserves to be called a man of iron. He was imprisoned in the Tower of London and for 3 months and 17 days was fed a daily diet of hemlock, arsenic, nitric acid, ground diamonds, and mercury, enough poison to have killed 20 men. But Sir Thomas refused to die. Finally, an injection of a powerful corrosive killed him. Later, the guards who'd been bribed to poison him were executed. Believe it or not.
Film and television.
I sent you the first season of Battlestar Galactica, Richard.
You did.
Did you watch
it?
it?
It's great.
Have you?
I did. I watched all of them.
It's good, isn't it?
It is. Unfortunately, I watched them on like a big marathon, which wore me down a little bit towards the end.
Well, how can you watch DVDs and be jogging at the same time? I'm only joking. So what? There's something like 22 episodes. There's probably about 30 hours of TV there.
Yeah.
How long did it take to watch them all?
I watched them all like 3 days.
That is a big DVD marathon. There's another 2 seasons.
Yeah. I actually quite like most of it. Yeah, I like the ideas and a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know, the new way they were doing stuff.
Yeah.
The whole idea of, the robots, finding religion.
Yeah. Well, they sort of want to understand religion, don't they? I think that's part of the thing.
Also, the idea that if, God, gave all his gifts to the humans, but they've wasted them, so they're the obvious choice to then step up.
Yeah.
And accept the gifts.
Yeah, it's clever like that. And in the second season, it's really clever how it sort of blurs the lines between who's on the right side and that nobody's on the right side. They're both sort of killing each other and they both believe they're right, but the only proof they've got that they're right are their beliefs.
Yeah.
And the fact that the other side is attacking them. So, yeah, it's clever like that. That's what I like about it. It's very... it's not sort of traditional... like sort of sci-fi storytelling with a sort of hero and a bad guy and triumphant. It's all sort of suggested and complicated. That's what I like about it. There's this other program that I haven't seen it's on a cable channel over here, but Heroes. Have you seen any of that?
I've caught a few of them, but I'm not much. It has been really big over here.
Yeah, that's how I've heard about it. I've just seen it on like TV and film like websites all talking about heroes, and the idea is that they're kids and they discover they've got superpowers, which sounds sort of crap really, but
well, it's actually a bit. If you ever read there's a series of books, I can't remember the actual series name, but they're about this virus known as the Joker virus.
No.
And it's they're all stories written by separate science fiction writers, but the idea was that there was this virus that spread through the world. And it's called the Joker virus because some people it killed, some people it gave sort of special powers to.
Right.
From what I've heard, it seems to be quite a bit similar between the books and the series.
Yeah, and it's not like they're sort of crime fighting, I don't think. I think it's sort of they're dealing with that really, aren't they?
Yeah, it's more coming to terms with, I can fly, I'm indestructible.
I might have to see some. It's on the Sci-Fi channel over here, which I think you can only get through Sky and like the cable, like Virgin and NTL. But that sounds interesting. There's Grindhouse has just opened over there.
Yeah, hopefully I'm going to go see it.
I've read some great reviews of it, but apparently it just bombed last weekend. They opened on Easter weekend, and it's 2 films.
Yeah.
And they're sort of like meant to be like 70s exploitation films, and they're really gory. And one's like a zombie one, and one's like a stuntman car stunts one. And they've got fake trailers in the middle made by other directors for other horror films. And every review I've read of it said it's brilliant, it's really funny, it's really gory, it's really... they've made the prints look all scratched, and there's jokes with like a reel is missing from each film, so the story like jumps. Like there's 20 minutes of the film missing in each one.
Yeah.
But if you can get a chance to go see it, I was wondering if you had, but if you can, I would go see it because it hasn't done very well. Because they opened it on Easter weekend, which seems like a stupid weekend to release 2 horror films, really. They've done about splitting them up and releasing them as 2 separate films.
All right.
So, and I think...
So the whole point.
Yeah.
They were together.
Well, definitely in Europe, definitely in the UK. The release date in the UK has been put back to something like August or something. And they're going to be split up. So you're not going to get that 3.5 hour double bill experience, which I remember cinemas in Leeds doing that. Did you ever go to any as a kid?
Yeah, I used to do this. Yeah, all the time.
I went to for my
That was
birthday.
back when it was on a loop as well, wasn't it? You could just sit in.
Yeah, you would pay one entrance fee and you could sit in there all day, and people did. And people smoked in there as well in a dark cinema with no air vents. But yeah, I remember going to see Giant Spider Invasion with William Shatner on a double bill with Carquake. I've never seen or heard of Carquake again, but we came in the middle of Carquake. We watched that, and then we watched the Giant Spider Invasion, and then we stayed and watched the beginning of Carquake up to the point where we'd seen it and then left. Yeah, there were a few old rundown... I mean, nobody called them grindhouses. They called them flea pits in the UK, didn't they? But there was the Plaza in Leeds, and that mainly showed porn, but I can remember it showing The Evil Dead. It was the only cinema that showed like a print of that. Then there was the Tower in Leeds, which used to do... it makes you sound ancient, but it used to do like 2 films for £1 on a Monday night, and they used to go to them. But they weren't exploitation films. They were like proper films, but they were just old prints. You know, they'd been out for years, like The Holy Grail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 films.
Saturday mornings as well, wasn't there?
I never went to Saturday morning cinema, but that was like cartoons and stuff like that, wasn't it?
Cartoons and the Children's Film Foundation.
Yeah, they were crap. I remember supporting films when you used to go see a film and they would have like a 20-minute documentary on like some tribe building a canoe or something. They were hard work. And what was the thinking behind them, that you need some sort of educational 20 minutes educational before you saw Superman or Flash Gordon? There were a lot of Walt Disney animal ones, weren't there, as well?
Yeah, obviously usually 2 animals buddying up for some reason.
Yeah, or just as like some guy voiceover telling you what a nice animal like the beaver is and how hardworking he is, and you know, maybe I should be as hardworking as a beaver. Anyway, I do remember them, and when cinemas. I mean, that's, I suppose, really, even though they're nothing like grindhouses, but that sort of cinema experience of just being dark and slightly tacky places, and just being able to not really knowing a lot about the films you were going to see. I mean, that's disappeared, really, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I think that might have been the problem with Grindhouse, in that the trailers don't really do them any favours.
What do you mean?
Like the trailer over here, you see a lot of Rose What's-Her-Face with the gun attached to her leg, shooting and leaping, which instantly makes it look ridiculous, and I think it's turned a lot of people off. Yeah,
I mean, apparently a lot of people didn't even know it was 2 films, and people were walking out after the first film. So I don't think their marketing... Apparently they didn't do any internet marketing at all for some reason. Just did chat shows, and Quentin Tarantino's irritating on chat shows. Have you ever seen it?
With his, I've heard some of his stuff when he's convinced that he used to be black, and
and he's sort of... I mean... He's the ultimate geeky filmmaker. His films just references to other films and obscure films, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then he pops up on chat shows and he starts pretending he's Samuel L. Jackson or somebody. Anyway, I still want to see Grindhouse, but it doesn't look like I'm going to get the full experience, so that's a shame.
Computer game reviews. Hello?
It's me.
Hello?
Is Oliver there?
You what?
Is Oliver there?
He is. He's in his den. It says that every Grand National he builds a den.
Yeah.
So he's in his den in his bedroom.
Okay.
I'll get him. Hello?
Oliver, listen. Before we get started,
Yeah?
every Grand National you build a den.
Yeah.
What's your den built out of?
Sheets.
What do you say? Shit.
No, like bed sheets.
Oh, sheets.
Yeah.
So what's the point in that?
I don't know. Just once I felt like building a den, and then the next year I did. And now I'm building another one.
How many years have you been doing this?
2.
2 years.
What?
You tell her to shut up in the background. We're trying to do something important here.
Yeah.
Right. First of all, Clayman Creations.
Yeah.
You haven't had any requests, have you?
No.
So let's go on. Use this opportunity to put out a request. Use this opportunity to put out a request.
Hold on a minute. Are you putting this on the podcast?
Yes.
Well, why don't you use the Skype thing?
I'm calling on Skype.
Yeah, I know, but this is the phone, so it sounds good.
I'm not worried about that.
Alright. Well then, any request for Clayman, please give me a request.
If that doesn't do it, nothing will.
Nope.
Right. What are you going to review? Did you say it was Just Cause?
No, I did that last time, didn't I?
Alright. I knew that.
Lost Planet for the Xbox 360.
Lost Planet.
Yeah.
What sort of game is that?
It's action type of game.
Action type?
Yeah.
Well,
So,
and what's it? Where's it set? Is it like in the future or?
it's just a bit in the future, and it's this newfound planet with these aliens that have this thermal energy in them. And when you're out on missions on the game, you have to kill them and collect the thermal energy to stay alive because it's so cold on the planet.
Is it like a story game or is it like you can go anywhere you want?
It's a story game.
So, if you don't kill the aliens, you die.
Yeah.
Right. So, is it a bit like Doom? Like you're tracking things down and shooting them?
Yeah. Sort of.
Have you finished
But
it?
What?
Have you finished it?
Not yet. But you can get, like, these big machines that you can get in. A bit like the things on Metal Gear Solid. Like big robot things, you can get inside them. And play around in them.
Graphics?
Quite good.
Ingy thumbs up?
An 8.
An 8?
Mm.
So you're enjoying it then?
Yeah.
But you haven't finished it. I find that a bit unusual.
It's just a bit hard.
Alright.
And I haven't been on the Xbox for a while.
Have you cheated yet?
Nope.
Have you seen any pictures of the Spider-Man 3 game for the Xbox?
No.
Looks good. Looks very good. Although, it's also coming out for the Wii. Do you wish you had a Wii?
No.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
You do?
I don't.
Yes, you do.
No.
Alright then.
Alright, see ya.
What?
Bye.
See ya.
News.
Richard, last week we talked about Chewbacca getting arrested outside the Mann's Chinese Theatre in Hollywood.
We did.
He got into, he headbutted a tour guide who was telling Chewbacca off because the character actors there aren't actually allowed to ask for money But if you have your picture taken with them, you're supposed to tip them. But if you're not aware of that, they can get a bit
Who's not
upset.
going to tip a Wookiee?
You've got to tip the Wookiee. Always let the Wookiee win. Where do you tip a Wookiee? You put it in one of those little silver... You know, he's got all those... I think they're 20 Lamberts and Butlers he's got around his chest. Put it in there. But the Batman out there who came at Chewbacca's aid has now been arrested as well. Let me tell you the story, but there's also a bit of backstory to Batman. Yeah, Batman, abandoning his long-time mission of avenging the downtrodden, whipped off his cape and raised his bewinged gauntlets and threatened to enact his trademark brand of vigilante justice upon some picketers who were denying him going to this portaloo that was near the theatre. These picketers didn't want him to use this portable toilet that had been rented by union workers who were working on a building, and Batman broke the picket line to use the toilet, and they got angry, got into an argument with him. He ripped his cape off and tried to have a fight with him. Chewbacca again got involved, but I think he was trying to calm the situation this time, but Chewbacca removed his head mask, started arguing with the picketers as well. The LAPD turned up and arrested Batman. According to somebody who was on the scene, they said, I think a lot of the characters and people out here get treated unfairly by the police. The police tend to be a little rough-handed when they arrest people when they really don't need to. Hollywood Afro Man, he witnessed the altercation. He said, Batman is no good for here, and that's why a lot of the characters named him Bat Trash, because he's got a trashy mouth. The LAPD said Batman became belligerent when he was taken to the station. He began banging his head and even kicked out a window of the patrol car. I'm not sure what's happened with the charge or what happened with Batman, but Batman, I looked into it a bit more. He's got his own YouTube page, Batman of Suburbia, and he's put some videos up on there. One is him talking in defense of Chewbacca getting arrested, obviously posted before he was arrested. And one is a very funny one where he's just walking in like the streets near his house and a car has to swerve to miss him. And the guy gets out of the car and ends up chasing Batman down the street. So that's funny. He's also got a MySpace page, Batman of Suburbia. And I'm not sure if this is all part of like some clever act that this guy's constructed, but he seems a bit lonely on his MySpace page.
Well, Batman is a very lonely person, isn't he?
But he's like saying, I'm going to be eating at this Chinese restaurant at a certain time. If anybody wants to pop in and say hello, it's hard to make friends in Los Angeles. My roommate's having a party. I'm not sure if I've been invited, but I'm going to try and go anyway. So Batman is a little lonely. So if anybody's interested, go to the MySpace page, Batman of Suburbia. Send him a message of support. He's got a lot of worries. And definitely go to his YouTube page, Batman of Suburbia, and send him a message. I'm going to be in LA in just over 2 weeks. So what I'm going to head down there and see if I can get him to record a promo for us. See if I can get Batman to say, you know, this is Batman saying, listen to the Electric Soup Kitchen. Maybe get a photograph with him. So I'll go check him out and put that up in the next episode. I've got another reason I want to go down there. You've got Star Wars stamps over there at the moment, haven't you?
I thought it was Star Trek. Was it Star Wars?
I know there's some... Well, maybe they haven't come out yet, but there's some 30th anniversary stamps, Star Wars stamps coming out. And have you heard what they've done to promote it?
What have they done?
Well, you know you've got those little round mailboxes.
Yeah.
They've sort of painted some up to look like R2-D2. So, and there's one outside the Man's Chinese Theatre. So I'll go get a picture of that, and I'll go get Batman to record a little promo for us. Hopefully, if he's there.
And also a picture of you posting something from
Picture of me
box.
Shoving something into R2-D2.
Yeah.
That can be arranged, Richard. And with Batman, why can't I get me, Batman, and an R2-D2 post box all in the same picture? And I'll try and stick that up on the website. Barry,
Hi, Marcus.
how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Not too bad. Listen, what's Easter all about?
Well, it's. I suppose it's a festival, isn't it? It's a festival for. It should be technically in the Catholic Christian faith. It's technically the most important festival.
Mm.
Although there's not as much present giving, so it doesn't feel quite as much fun as Christmas.
You sound out of breath. Have you been jogging, or are you just?
No, I've gone upstairs to try and find a pair of shoes.
All right.
Because I always like to answer the phone in the shoes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was either you'd been doing some exercise or you were getting excited because we're talking about Jesus.
It depends. If that'll get me to heaven, then I'll go for the latter. What can I say about Easter? Well, Easter comes up after Lent.
Yeah.
Lent is a period like 40 in the Bible. Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights in the desert, and that's kind of what Lent is a reflection of that.
I know that story, and he was like tempted by the devil, wasn't he?
Yeah, happens to us all.
So that is the lead up to Easter.
That's the lead up to Easter. Although in Jesus' story that doesn't happen. He doesn't have 40 days and 40 nights and then gets crucified.
Right.
It's before he decides to become like a preacher. He spends 40 days and 40 nights kind of in the desert, and then he spends 3 years being a preacher, and then all the stuff that happens around Easter happens.
Also, it gets bunched together at Easter. So you have Lent, which remembers that time in the desert. And then the days in Easter. So what's the first? Good Friday is the first day, is it?
Well, Easter kind of starts the week before, because you've got Palm Sunday. So you've got Easter Sunday, which is when, but the week before is Palm Sunday, where they kind of repeat when Jesus arrived in Jerusalem. He was kind of feted because he was so famous at the time. Everyone was throwing palms in front of him, and so if you go to church, everyone has a palm in the shape of a cross. It's a palm leaf. It's made in the shape of a cross, and they take all and that reflects that sort of celebration because Jesus was going to Jerusalem at the time of the Jewish Passover festival.
So that's the first. So Palm Sunday is the first thing in Easter.
It's the first Sunday, but Easter week, Palm Sunday is the sort of first day, sort of thing. And then they collect all those palms up and they burn them, and not during the mass. And then they save all the ashes and they give that the first day of Lent, the 40 days before.
Yeah.
It's called Ash Wednesday, and those those ashes that were burnt are wiped on your face.
Right.
So it's a bit circular. All right, and then you kind of have all the rest of it. Not a lot happens until Maundy Thursday or Holy Thursday. So you have Holy Thursday, which is when the Last Supper was.
Right.
So you have a washing of people's feet at church, and kind of a celebration of mass.
And then is it Good Friday?
And then it's Good Friday.
So what's so good about Good Friday?
I think it's Good Friday is only called Good Friday because it's a bit of a in the same way goodbye used to be Godbye or something like that. I think it's a bastardization of the word God. So because it's called different things in different countries, it's like called in China I think it's called Crucifixion Day.
So it is the day he got crucified?
Yeah, Good Friday is the day he was crucified.
All right. I guessed that it wasn't because it was called Good Friday.
No, I think it happened as a Catholic. You can't have mass on Good Friday as a Catholic because it's the only day in the year that they can't do the consecration. So they have this incredibly long thing, incredibly long service at like 3:00 in the afternoon, or it starts at like 2:30 and it's 3:00 because that's when Christ was supposed to die. They everything goes quiet.
And then Easter Sunday is when he came back.
Easter Sunday, he comes back and he rolled the Easter egg away from the cave.
Now he wasn't a zombie, was he?
Technically, no. There wasn't. Well, or maybe because there wasn't a horde of them.
He didn't bite anybody or anything like that.
He didn't pass it on. No. Although he did, the whole Lazarus story. That's earlier on in the Bible. That could be seen as a good zombie story.
Well, that's Easter in a nutshell, or should I say, eggshell.
Any
why
more
do we-
religious questions you have?
Well, what's the thing with Easter eggs? They just symbol what?
I think that's the whole sort of pay. Well, we used to get told at school that it was because he was rolling they represented the rock that was in front of the tomb, and it's kind of like, no, they're not. It's because it's spring, and it's all about eggs and fertility and stuff like that.
So that's a bit of a pagan add-on.
Yeah, they're always, they're very clever. The early Christians. So you turned up, you saw whatever religion was there, and you kind of went, oh, what's that? And that relates to our religion because it does this.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense with the whole eggs and fertility and all that sort of symbolism. Well, that's good.
That's good. Okay,
Thanks for that. That's the definitive version of Easter.
I'm sure everyone, we can use the Teachergate that now.
There's two other things. I sent you a link to a podcast called The Time Travel Musical Bazaar. Did you get a chance to have a listen to it?
I've not listened to it yet, no. I'll have a listen to it.
Well, let me tell you roughly what it is, because I'm going to play a bit in this episode. It's called The Time Travel Musical Bazaar, and these two guys, they go out and they go to second-hand shops and junk shops, and they just buy any LP that looks interesting. So in this episode, they bought like a Two Ronnies LP, Groucho Marx, a health and safety record, and some like a Buddy Rich drum
Health
record.
and safety record?
Yeah, some guy talking about health and safety, like an industrial record. And then they take them back, and they have two vintage like record players and a mixing desk. They don't use any headphones, so they literally just put one on, drop the needle wherever it lands, and then they mix the records. And they do like a 25-minute mix of all their of all these records they've just picked up without even listening to them, and it's just all random. A random 25-minute mix of all these records, and it's great.
Is it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It can get quite weird, but
is that not that? Do you think it goes along with the same thing? Like you put a million monkeys in a room, and one of them will come up with shake.
Yeah, well, no, it's the equivalent of if you've got a million monkeys in a room, one of them writes Shakespeare. It's the equivalent of one of them writing half Shakespeare and half nonsense.
Right.
That version, because there'd be lots of different versions, wouldn't there, from those monkeys?
There would be.
So it'd be like half Shakespeare, half nonsense. So it's good. So I'm going to play a bit now, and anybody who's interested, the podcast goes out as part of WMFU, Beware of the Blogs internet radio station. So that's a good site anyway. People should just go check that site out.
Check it out.
Yeah. But anyway, so this is the Time Travel Musical Bazaar podcast.
Et puis, cherche-moi. 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Où es-tu? Par ici. Non, là. Je ne peux pas te trouver. J'ai gagné. Rentrons à la maison. Allons jouer. À quel jeu? À cache-cache. Bien. Retourne-toi. 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 Compte jusqu'à 10. Et puis, cherche-moi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
in the Companies Act 1948 and the Insurance Companies Act 1958. It's proposed to deal with the changes brought about in the Companies Act 1948 only. By Section 2, the old privacy of exempt private companies is abolished, and after the 26th of January 1968, every limited company, whether public or private, will be required to file with its annual return its profit and loss account, balance sheet, and directors' report. These will show more information than that prescribed under the 1948 Act, and this information is for publication to shareholders and to the world at large. Attention will now be given to the provisions concerning the balance sheet, profit and loss account, and directors' report, respectively.
And the other thing I want to tell you about is Mike Latham, Craig Duncan have started a podcast.
Have they?
They have, and they were
they
were kind enough to say that it was partly inspired by Electric Soup Kitchen, so that was nice of them. And they do lots of again, it's like those two talking. There's a lot more music. Mike plays a bit of Diesel Park West and Nelly Furtado, but don't let that put you off.
Does he wear his boots?
He probably is wearing his boots. He sounds a bit like Ken Bruce when he's talking. So he's been working on the voice.
I think he used to stand in for Ken Bruce when Ken Bruce was on Radio 2.
But it's called Chitty Chatty Podcast. chittychatty.co.uk. So
I'll have a listen.
Yeah, people go have a listen. It's only streaming at the moment. You can't download it, but I'll put a link up as well in the iTunes window. So if you click on that, it'll take you to Chitty Chatty. It's a spin-off from Mike's website, which is roomybonce.com. ROOMYBONCE.com. So if you haven't been there, go have a look at that as well, because that's funny. I think that's it, Barry.
All right, cool.
Anything else?
No, well, it's I've got to go and hang some washing up now. That's exciting, isn't it?
No, that's not exciting to me nor anybody listening. All right then.
Take care, mate.
Talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Richard, we haven't done any script reports, but the last two episodes. But let's do.
Sent me any.
I know. I'm going to send you one. We'll do one next week. We'll do one called Igor, which is a computer animated comedy film, and it's all based around Frankenstein's assistant, and it's set in I can't remember. It's like it's if you imagine like Monsters Inc. You know the world Monsters Inc. It's like that, but it's with classic like Frankenstein's and Mad Scientist. Actually, I don't think it's Frankenstein. I think it's Mad Scientist.
Is it based on Terry Pratchett's stuff?
It's called Igor. Is that this? That's not the same thing, I don't think.
No, well, he did a whole. There's a whole bit in his worlds about the Igors.
I don't know.
Family tradition, they pass body parts onto each other. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't read all this script, but what I can tell, there's some sort of best assistant competition coming up, and this Igor wants to win it. But the bits I've read, I've really enjoyed. So we will talk about that. So at the beginning, I said about the corporate sponsorship. Here it is. KFC were entitled to 2 bargain buckets each for playing this ad of the Colonel himself trying to record a Kentucky Fried Chicken ad. Here it is.
Take one.
Quiet, please. Recording.
Here go again. I found a way to cook. Take 2.
I found a way to cook extra. Come on over and try my crispy. It's entirely different, and yet it's just as tender and tasty. No, and it's just as finger-licking good. You see, I found a way to cook chicken deep down and get that real crispy crust that some folks like. And it's just as tender and juicy, and I'll get it now. I found a way to cook chicken deep down and get that crispy, real crispy chicken crust. Yet it's entirely different. No.
This will be Wild Lines 30. Take 1.
Now you have 2 kinds of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Start again.
He said cut it.
Go ahead.
And now you have 2 kinds of Kentucky Fried Chicken to choose from. Yet tender and juicy. Is that it? Yeah.
That's all right. Cut it.
It's better,
Take 2.
Colonel, if you read it. Okay, we're recording!
Now you have 2 kinds of Kentucky Fried Chicken to choose from. My regular recipe.
Take 3. It's entirely different. It's entirely different. But every bit. Yes. Now you have yourself. Now you have two kinds of Kentucky Fried Chicken. Let me get that scratched off of there and quit looking at it.
Quiet, please.
That real crusty, real what kind of damn crispy crust. It's really it's really different. Now you can have two kinds of Kentucky Fried Chicken to choose from. My regular recipe and my new extra crisp.
Crispy.
New extra crispy. I thought I said that. Now you have two kinds of Kentucky Fried Chicken to choose from. It's entirely different. Yet every bit is finger-licking good, you see. No, every bit of it's finger-licking good. You see, I found a way to cook chicken deep down to get that real crispy crust some folks like. I better do that again, huh?
Yes. All right. Cut.
You don't want me to sing, do you, for Christ's sake?
We're rolling. This is the good one. Take 5.
Most folks,
All right, once again.
most folks have heard about it.
All right, that's good. Good, very nice.
That's why folks call it finger. That's why folks call it finger.
Sounds good.
That's why folks call it finger licking good. That's why folks call it. That's why folks call it finger licking good. That's why folks call it finger licking good. I'm not getting anywhere with this damn thing.
Okay, fine.
Some more updates, Richard. Bonnie Ebenerdoo, remember him?
Of course.
Yeah, of course. How could you forget him? Well, he had his own. Somebody had given. He's the Phantom Crapper to anybody who. Oh yeah, the Phantom Crapper to anybody who listened to our Halloween special and probably every podcast since. I did look again. I was doing a bit of research, and his Wikipedia entry has been taken down.
Oh, that's strange.
An editor has nominated Bonnie Ebenerdoo an article on which you have worked for deletion. Some guy put quite a lot of work on getting, the Phantom Crapper up on Wikipedia. But they said that the nominator doesn't believe that the article satisfies Wikipedia's criteria for inclusion. So, that's a bit sad. But
it's a very important historical reference.
Well, there may be a copycat Phantom Crapper.
Yeah, but hiding the truth isn't going to stop the copycats.
It just goes underground.
Yeah.
In Berlin, an 18-year-old man has been detained for repeatedly defecating in front of a cash machine. A police spokesman said the man who left his deposit at the bank 8 times was caught only after the bank installed video monitors and filmed him in action. 8 times. He's nowhere near Bonnie, but he's getting there.
Yeah.
A staff worker later spotted the man as he was boarding a bus. That's very significant. He could have been, started like a serial killer.
A wannabe.
Well, serial killers, they start torturing animals, work up to humans. This guy, he started at cash machines, he's working up to buses, and eventually trains, which is where Bonnie... I wonder how Bonnie started out. Who knows? I mean, these filthy people, they get their ideas from somewhere. Anyway, he was arrested, thankfully, before it could progress. And there was another story from Berlin about a German man who spent 10 days in a self-made box atop a 72-foot-tall pole to protest at a looming jail term. He was lured off his perch by his wife. She sent up a topless picture of herself in his lunchbox. So this guy was going to jail. So to protest, he was going to go to jail anyway. But to protest at it, he spent 10 days sat in a box on top of a 72-foot pole. Fred Greger, 45, was bidding to have his 15-month conviction for fraud overturned by squatting in his tiny cubicle atop a converted television mast. He told Reuters in a telephone interview last week that he wanted a new trial. His wife, Suzanne, 25, backed his protest until the former stripper and mother of their 5 children decided she'd had enough. So she got him down. Well done, Suzanne. It's a beautiful story. Would you do that, Richard, if the man was breathing down your neck? Make a little box somewhere and go sit up in it as a protest?
Probably not.
No. It's
unless it was like a pre-made box.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Perhaps Home Depot does its own line of boxes, or
what do you mean, like with a
just moved out?
with like a TV in the corner and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's called.
I mean, that's the thing. They could have just left him up there and maybe serve out his sentence there.
Well, his wife was sending him up packed lunches, so all they need to do. Well, maybe there's no law against going and sitting in a box. It's Grand National Day today, Richard.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I actually quite like that.
I'm going to have a bet. We might have a sweepstake. Do you want me to put a sweepstake in for you on your behalf?
Yeah.
I will do, and I'll let you know if you win. I'm just trying to think if there's anything I can use as a symbol, a little totem leady to have in the room while we're watching the race.
You just buy a can of Peck. Just have it sat there.
Some spam.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was thinking of a big King Edward potato, but I will. I don't know if we've got some spam. Will a potato do?
A potato will do.
All right.
I mean, do you have like Mr. Potato Head eyes and stuff? It can be a little bit more than just a potato.
No, but I could like jam some currants into it or something.
That'll do.
Maybe some of Franklin's hair is still floating around. I can just stick some of that around the back.
Well, the one thing I have seen, I thought you'd like, is over here you can get Mr. Potato Head Spider-Man edition.
I've seen the Darth Vader edition.
Yeah, the Darth Vader edition is just like a big helmet.
Yeah.
but the Spider-Man edition is quite funny, I thought.
I have, I have seen them. I've resisted buying them for Franklin because it's like, oh, I'm going to get him this. I wouldn't get him a Mr. Potato Head normally, but oh, I'm going to get him this because it's a Darth Vader one. So I've resisted it. I've resisted that manipulation. But
have you resisted Spider-Man sings "Itsy Bitsy Spider"?
What is that, like a plush Spider-Man?
Yeah, kind of. It's sort of like, I think they must have just skinned an Elmo and put him in a Spider-Man suit.
Yeah. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that. He likes Daleks though. He does like Daleks, and that's not through me. I think it's through when I was editing Oliver's Dalek video. I think he saw that on the laptop a lot, but he can say it, and he's got like a bubble bath one. But I'm not letting him watch Doctor Who because I think it's too.
I'm sure the Emperor Dalek could be spinning in his grave if you introduced a bubble bath.
Yeah, Richard, it's a highly detailed model, though.
Well then,
but
and it does exterminate all grime.
But you made me when you were saying about they skinned an Elmo. You know He-Man and all the He-Man line of toys.
Yeah.
Do you remember they all had basically the same body, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, the story behind that is. The He-Man as a concept and the first He-Man doll came up because Mattel had created hundreds of thousands of Conan the Barbarian dolls to come out with the Conan the Barbarian film, the first one, and it flopped. So they didn't release them, or they only released a handful, and they had this huge stock that they'd made, thinking it was going to be a massive hit. So they changed it into He-Man and put a He-Man head on it, and that is how He-Man came about.
Oh wow!
Just because Conan flopped, and then He-Man became huge, but they all had that same body. But that was the original Conan body. But now you've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is out. Is back, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and Transformers.
I hate to say it though, Transformers looks good.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, yeah. It does look quite good.
Yeah. I mean, I was never into Transformers. I was never into the Turtles, but the couple of Transformers trailers that I've seen, he looks good. I go on Ain't It Cool, and the geek hordes are just foaming at the chops about the Transformers film. They're really... If you go on it and see an article about Transformers and read the talk back, they're hilarious because some people are just so precious about it and so offended by the idea of the Michael Bay film. If anybody uses iTunes, I know a lot of people have got a problem with using iTunes, but if you do use iTunes to listen to this, it would be really great if you went and gave us a review. Search for the Electric Soup Kitchen in the podcast listings within iTunes and gave us a review. Because I think that is how iTunes they find out what's a popular podcast. I think we are quite popular-ish in terms of downloads, but they don't track that. I think they track. But one of the ways they track is by how many reviews you get on iTunes, and then if you get a lot, they feature you. They stick you on like the iTunes podcast page when people log in, which would be great. So if anybody fancies doing that, I know some of you already have, but if anybody wants to help us out, that would be a good way of doing it. Going to the iTunes podcast section and writing a review for us. You got anything else to add?
No.
Well,
I wish everyone, all the best.
Yeah. You say that like that goes without saying. Oh, of course I wish everyone all the best.
Really, it does go without saying. I would have thought.
Richard, it doesn't. It always needs saying. I think that's about it, don't you?
Okay. Yeah, that was good at the end. Woke up a bit.
Yeah. Well, the early starts are appreciated.
That's all right.
I will create my little totem, Richard, and I will put you in the sweepstake. I'll email you and tell you what horses you've got.
All right.
And I will also take a photograph of him. I wonder if I twist its head if anything happens to you in Albany. I need something of yours, though, don't I, to give it voodoo properties. All right, well, Richard, watch out. If you get a pain in the neck late this afternoon, you'll know that I've done a good job.
Okay.
All right, then.
Take care, everyone.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.